Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another PGR reaction. Today, I'm going to be listening to the full version of Edenis because a lot of people wanted me to listen to the full version, and I understand why. It's a very long version of the song. I listened to the short one, and due to a couple comments saying so, I am aware that there is definitely different stuff happening, and it's not just an extension, so I know I'll at least have something new to grab a hold of and figure out and try to analyze and do my best to figure out why it's that way. So I guess without further ado, let's go. Okay, starts out different. The main theme must be coming later then. Ooh. Ooh. Nothing but dissonance, huh? Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, those are filthy. I like it, but I don't like it. You know what I mean? It sounds cool, but it makes me not want to open the door. There is something outside. I don't I don't like it. This is horror movie shit. God, May, the atmosphere. I thought it was atmospheric last time. No, no thank you. I didn't like whatever that sound was, and then it went away. Now I don't know where it is and I'm scared. Changing. Okay. I think this is starting to get into the song from before. Maybe. It's still a little bit different. Okay, there it is. This is what I remember. Did they change the mix on this too? Or is it just because it's like a proper upload? Because this feels different. It's lighter, there's a little bit more fidelity in all the frequencies. It's crispier. Especially those like aggressive synth sounds in there. It's got more texture in it, which is saying a lot. It just hit me what that synth is. It just hit me what that reminded me of. I'll talk about that later. That'll be a fun one. This rising tension, it's so much more potent in this version. I'm really wondering if the mix isn't completely different from the prior one. Maybe they spent more time with it and gave it an upgrade, or maybe it is just the upload being different, but Where are we going? Yeah, this is different, for sure. Like a slap to the face. It hits like my dad. My dad is a very nice guy. Hell yeah. Well, now I'm really glad I listened to this full version. This is very superior to the last one. Still going. You kind of forget how long 7 minutes is, but you find yourself lost in it for a while. Okay. Nope, change that key. That's fine. Woo! Hello. Good lord, that'll be fun to talk about too. I don't know if that portion of vocals was in the other version. I don't think it was. I feel like I would have remembered that. Or I just didn't hear it as well. That'll be an interesting one to bring up too. There's definitely extra topics to talk about on this one. This is gonna be fun. By the way, I just realized I left this up on screen, so I'm sure I'm gonna put like a box here or something. I just noticed and I'm like, man, I've already said a bunch of stuff. I don't want to have to like restate all that. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. So first things first, my apologies to May for not actually listening to the full version. This has so much more fidelity, so much more detail, so much more love and care. The short version was great, of course, but even if it was just the upload I used being a little bit lower quality, this one is so expansive on that soundscape. There are so many little details in this. Every frequency has a place and it goes somewhere. It doesn't just stay put. There's no static noise in this. There's a lot of noise, but that's just by design. All the sound that's going through here that's constantly moving all the way around, it doesn't leave your ears alone at all. And you can really only hear that in a high quality upload by somebody who knows what they're doing with all of those frequencies around you. So damn, May, I'm so sorry I didn't listen to this full version before. But first thing in the song, in the beginning, in the beninging, there is an amazing little chunk there of all of that dissonance in those noises that are happening. All that piano in there just fighting against each other. There's notes that just do not belong. They're constantly adding tension. They never really resolve. Like, they do go back down or up to other notes that are single notes, so that feels like a slight resolution, but it's really not. It just keeps building on top of itself, and every single time there are two keys played next to each other, adds some more dissonance, adds some more detail to that, and just, you cannot get away from it. The whole beginning, like, what, 3 minutes of the song is just building up all of that tension, and you cannot run away no matter how hard you try. And I don't know what else May does with their time, but if it's not film scoring for horror movies, they should be, because that was insanely good, insanely effective, and just made me feel dread in a way I haven't in a while. It just doesn't give you enough information that makes you feel like you're kind of aware of the situation. It withholds just enough that it makes you want to ask a question, but you know damn well you shouldn't, and that's such a cool effect to pull out, especially in a song for a Punishing Gray Raven. Why? Like, I'm sure there's stuff with this character that maybe relates to that loneliness, that fear, that confusion maybe, but like, I don't know the character. I don't know what their backstory is, but it just makes me feel that way. And later in, we get that cool synth I was talking about. It's around 3 minutes and 30 seconds in. If you want to go back and listen to the song and hear what synth I'm talking about, it's like that lead synth on the top. That reminds me of a fan song from the My Little Pony community, of all things. It's Dregs of a Bitter Cup by McCone, I believe. An amazing track. Honestly, one of like the hidden gems of the music scene in the My Little Pony fan community back in the early 2010s. It's a track I think about weirdly often, even though it was just kind of there. It just appeared on a fan compilation album at some point, and I don't even know what McCone is doing anymore, but I remember their name and their song just based off that one. They did other stuff as well, but like, that's an insane. I'm gonna have to add it to like the cards here so you guys can listen to it, but that synth is something I had never heard before up to that point, and now I'm hearing it again in this, and I do think it wasn't the other version, and it was kind of irking me. I don't know why I couldn't bring it up to myself then, but I could not think of what it was that was just knocking in the back of my head, but it suddenly hit me on this listen. So if it was in the original version that I listened to, then I just missed it and my brain could not bring up what that song was, but this time around it latched on, and now I'm sharing that with all of you. What a great song. Love that synth. It's just something so original that I don't hear often, so it's really cool to have that in there. And again, I want to reiterate the fidelity improvement on this song. I don't know really what it was, if it was just that upload quality, but this felt like it had so much more. It just felt like it was uploaded at a completely different bitrate. It's like hearing a song in 4K when you just heard it in 360p. It's like, I know that's not the case. The other upload was fine, but this one just did so much more with all that extra crunch in there, and it made it feel so much bigger and so much more important and honestly awe-inspiring in every way. I just can't get over that. But I think the last thing I want to talk about really is all that vocal stuff at the end that I hadn't heard for sure, but that was so insane. I thought it was like a key change in there, and it kind of was, but that's where it gets interesting, because this was kind of doing what the piano was doing in the beginning, where things just weren't matching. It was all this dissonance and chords and notes that shouldn't be working together, and they really don't. It's really just kind of gross to hear it. It's not what the ear wants to hear. It adds all that tension again, and what's really cool about this one is you're just doing it in chords, but in dissonant chords, so things that shouldn't be working together, and that's why it feels like there's a key change in there. I don't know if there was actually a key change. It could have just been that they were bouncing between a couple of dissonant chords, and while that would technically make a key change in a lot of cases, I think they went back to the original by the end, or at least one of the ones within the same key, so it felt kind of like a natural progression despite all of that mess that was happening in there. Everything felt wrong for a while, but then it did resolve by the end of the song, so that's really neat. There's so many cool things about how this song just makes you feel. It really does make you feel like what I said in the beginning, very gross. You're just afraid of what's to come. You're afraid of the past, the future, the present. There is no safe space for you here, and that is such a cool aesthetic to bring. And while I did feel some of that in that shorter version, this one definitely just pulls it out. It just rips it out like just a hand going into the guts of a beast and just yanking it out. And that imagery might be a little visceral, but I think that that's exactly what this song is making me feel. It's just such a core disgust in a fearful way. It's not like I'm grossed out by the song, but it makes me feel so unsettled that that's the imagery I get in my head, that there's just something incorrect, and I don't like what it is, and I don't want to know what it is. But at the same time, it's just such a beautiful, grotesque pile of noise that you're like, why is this art? Like, it's so cool. Atmosphere is one of my favorite things with all of sound design. I love sound design. I love music. Atmosphere like this being a part of that just makes me a little bit more, because it's just so much focus on something that you really just don't expect it to be on. Like, of course, like I said earlier, for Punishing Gray Raven, you did this for PGR. Like, what is the story here? It makes me want to figure that out, but it also makes me never want to figure it out. But there's something about feeling that desire that wants that resolve, but also the fear of getting too close that just, there's something tantalizing about it. But I personally know better, and I'm not a horror movie protagonist, so you're not going to see me running towards the giant beast. So thank you very much. I'm going to stay over here. But I think that's about all I got to say on this one, so thank you all so very much for watching. Surprisingly, a lot of things to talk about on this one. I had a feeling there'd be a couple because of the song being so long. I knew there was going to be at least 1 or 2 spots I can talk about, but I see why you guys wanted me to listen to the full one, and I have no complaints. So if you have any other songs you want me to listen to, by all means, drop them in the comments below, and I will do my best as always to get to them. And of course, if you like this video and you want to follow me and support me for those in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!